You're watching CBS7 News at 9 on the CW and live on the CBS7 YouTube channel with Alexandra Macia and Tom Tieferteller.
A lot of times with people who are food insecure, there are also a lot of other health conditions that they may have. And so we'll see this kind of cycle where people don't have access to healthy, nutritious food, and that could make their health conditions get worse.
CBS 7 needs your help supplying the West Texas Food Bank with peanut butter. Coming up in just a few minutes, we have more information on why the pantry staple is so important and where you can donate. That's coming up on CBS 7 News at 9. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here at 9 on the CW and streaming on YouTube. I'm Matthew Alvarez in for Alexandra Macia. We'll start tonight with continuing coverage. The city of Odessa has determined the contract with the Ector County Utility District to be void, raising concern for many West Texans and West Odessans who fear their water will be shut off. Odessa City Manager John Beckmeyer and City Attorney staff investigated the contract between ECUD and the city, following a request on ECUD's behalf for a refund earlier this month, after being reportedly overcharged. Until it's negotiated, John Beckmeyer says they'll take the contract month to month with the same rate. ECUD board member Troy Walker says until a judge rules otherwise, the contract is still valid. Either way, nothing changes.
It's not really the rate structure that we have in question, so I don't see the rate structure changing significantly.
We'll do everything possible to keep your water bills down, to make sure the water stays flowing.
City Manager John Beckmeyer says he hopes to clean up what's caused the contract to be void and move forward. ECUD has still not responded to the city. ECUD board member Troy Walker calls the move by the city a political sideshow. You can find this full story on CBS7.com and the mobile news app. Let's talk oil and gas now, where the Texas Oil and Gas Association did an economics review that found in August, Texas crude oil production was at the highest of any month on record, producing over 5.5 million barrels per day. Natural gas production gross withdrawals were also the highest of any month on record. And Texas exported over $107 billion worth of energy products in the first half of 2023. Well, over in Midland County now, the Commissioner's Court had a special meeting today to discuss the water heater at the Midland County Detention Center. Last week, the 13-year-old water heater at the detention center stopped working. The total cost of repairs is $19,000, including labor and parts.
Right now, it is affecting the minimum security area, which is our tent location. And the water heater went out about a week ago, but unfortunately, it is over 10 grand. I do have to take it to court.
It's expected to be repaired sometime next week and will take about a half a day. Meanwhile, inmates are taking rotational showers and they're using water jugs to shower as well. Let's track crime also in Midland County, where the Sheriff's Office and Texas DPS conducted a 2-day prostitution sting this week called Operation Pumpkin Spice. These 11 people were charged. 10 were arrested with solicitation of prostitution. One had an outstanding warrant and another will have a warrant issued at a later time. One was arrested for prostitution itself. Operation Pumpkin Spice was aimed at arresting people soliciting prostitution and rescuing victims of human trafficking. Let's transition now and talk your CBS 7 First Alert forecast now. Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller joins us now in the First Alert Weather Center. Tom, Friday Night Football lights underway right now all across the Permian Basin. Things are looking pretty nice out there.
Yeah, nice and warm out there. Not as hot as it was a little bit earlier. Not too much in the skies. Let's take a look at that radar right now and show you things are quiet. Even the clouds and the showers we had a little earlier, well, they're really starting to dissipate down here across the mountain area, so not too much showing up as temperatures were on the hot side today. Upper 90s to low triple digits. Wink 103, 102 in Pecos. Those were the hot spots, and also Fort Stockton, Presidio into triple digit territory. Taking a look outside. Odessa right now, lower 90s across the area, so still a little on the warm side, cooling off much better down towards the mountain areas, and not a lot of wind to deal with out there at the present time. Does look like more triple-digit heats in the forecast for parts of West Texas for the start of the fall season, which is tomorrow. But changes are on the way after that we'll talk about here in a couple of minutes.
Alrighty, Tom, thank you. Let's talk education now, where UT Permian Basin got nearly $3 million in grants from the U.S. Department of Education. It's a grant for students through for their thoughtful responses on education and mentoring. A program to recruit students to be teachers, especially Hispanic, first generation, and rural students. A statement from the university can be found on our website, that's CBS7.com. And students, staff, and friends of Coleman High School celebrated what would have been the 104th birthday of its namesake, Dr. Viola Coleman. Dr. Coleman was born on September 25, 1919. Coleman moved to Midland in the 1950s after graduating medical school from Louisiana. At the time, Dr. Coleman was the only African-American doctor in Midland. For over 50 years, Coleman practiced medicine and was instrumental in integrating the staff at Midland Memorial Hospital. In 1992, the school that was originally named Midland Alternative School changed to Coleman High School in her honor.
It's a tremendous honor and pleasure that every year Coleman High School staff, Principal Medina, remember my mother's birthday. And it means a lot to the family that they still continue to honor her.
Conrad hopes the celebration continues every year. And happening this weekend, it's the 11th annual Tall City Blues Fest back in Midland with so many performances. The event will be held at the old lumberyard at the destination. There's going to be food vendors, among many other things, selling merchandise and, of course, blues itself.
It's really cool that it's in our hometown. And, you know, we're all from here. We know a lot of people around here, too. And so it's really cool we can invite them all out to the show to come watch us play Saturday.
And that was the lead singer of the group, Never Too Young, a local group, by the way. There will also be many other performers there happening this weekend.
To bring you, high quality top performers for blues music here. Yeah, we start with, one local musician, and all of them are within either the Texas region or beyond.
More information is at CBS7.com. It is Hunger Action Month, and CBS7 is partnering up with the West Texas Food Bank to host the Peanut Butter Brigade. It's a month-long collection of the pantry staple at area businesses. Next week, a truck will pull into Music City Mall's parking lot for the final day of the Peanut Butter Brigade, and we can't fill it without you. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter has about the same protein as an egg, but peanut butter can stay on the shelf for months at a time. It's also ready to eat, making it convenient for families and useful no matter a person's living situation. Not to mention, peanut butter is a balanced food item that will make you feel full and energized.
There's lots of different vitamins and minerals in peanut butter, and then there's also the type of fat that's in peanut butter is mostly the type of fat that's beneficial to our hearts versus the type of fat that's in let's say like bacon or butter or something like that that's not as beneficial to our hearts.
Next Thursday, September 28th, we'll load a truck full of peanut butter with your help, and you can join us to donate there and also at United Supermarkets and Market Street locations. And by the way, you're looking at a list of all of those wonderful businesses who have joined our Peanut Butter Brigade across Odessa and Midland. And if you'd like to drop off a jar of peanut butter, do it at these great places or even here at CBS 7. Again, our drive next Thursday, September 28th, right here at CBS 7. And it is Friday night, which means high school football games are underway right now across West Texas. Did you know that the CBS 7 sports team covers the most high school football games in the Basin? That all happens during the Friday Night Blitz every Friday night on CBS 7 at 10:15. Plus, new this year, you can watch an extended version of the Blitz on the CBS 7 YouTube channel live at 10:30. Let's go and take a look at some of the games Jacob Brandenburg and Jair Brooks Davis will be covering tonight, starting with the Pecos Eagles, who are currently playing the Seminole Indians. Both schools have a winning record. Here in Odessa, the Alpine Bucks have traveled to play the Odessa Compass Cougars at historic Ratliff Stadium. And the big game in Midland tonight, Legacy versus Converse Judson, the 2 historic programs. Last year, the Rebels made a 47-point comeback against Judson, but Legacy still lost 60-50. Judson has a 1-3 record on the year, but they've also lost to 3 undefeated teams. You can find full scores about this at cbs7.com/sports/scoreboard. And don't forget, the Blitz is at 10:15 tonight. And across the nation now, other headlines where Congress facing a hard deadline to pass a spending bill, or there will be a government shutdown. But House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is struggling to build consensus within the House GOP ranks, as some on the right don't like the direction it's headed. Natalie Brand brings us more details from Capitol Hill.
Most members of the U.S. House left the Capitol for the weekend, even though they have just 8 days left to reach and pass a spending deal to keep the government open. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy expressed his frustration after hard-right Republicans, for a second time, blocked debate on a bill to fund the Pentagon.
This is a whole new concept of individuals that just want to burn the whole place down. That doesn't work.
The stalemate means Congress may have to pass a short-term continuing resolution to fund the government. But even that is facing opposition from some conservatives.
We've been doing CRs for 25 years or longer, and it works the same way, lather, rinse, repeat.
We should not fear a shutdown in the sense that we hurt the American people further to avoid a shutdown, which would have minimal impact if we just had a shutdown for a week or two while we're getting our spending bills done.
With Congress in gridlock, the Biden administration is sending notices to federal agencies to begin preparations for a possible shutdown.
We still remain hopeful, although the writing's on the wall.
Everett Kelly, the president of the American Federation of Government Employees, says his members are once again on edge.
One paycheck, not arriving on time could mean, hey, I got to go borrow money from somebody. I got to get in debt. I got to find some way to provide food for my family.
With Democrats in control of the Senate and narrow margins in both chambers, the ultimate solution will have to be bipartisan. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Let's look at CBS7.com right now, where viewers are reading our articles right now. You can see the top stories there and log on anytime to CBS7.com or download the CBS7 mobile news app. Still ahead here at 9 all week, the southern border has seen an influx of people trying to cross into the United States. Next, we talk about local, federal, and international government responses on the news at 9. In news across Texas, nearly 9,000 migrants have crossed the border in just 24 hours, overwhelming border towns like Eagle Pass, where the mayor declared a state of emergency and the White House sending additional troops to help. CNN's Ed Lavandera has more.
Dozens of migrants stand in the Rio Grande, moments after forming a human chain to cross the river and through layers of razor wire trying to reach Eagle Pass, Texas. They tell me they're from Venezuela, among them a woman and her toddler. The danger for them is real. 2 people, including a 3-year-old boy, have drowned this week after being swept away in the river current. But after a nearly 3,000-mile journey, they accept the risk.
¿Cuánto tiempo van a esperar aquí? How long are you going to wait here?
You say they're going to wait here until they let them in? The migrants tell us they've been robbed and attacked on the Mexican side of the river. After hours of waiting, the migrants figure out a way to crawl under the razor wire. In a surreal scene, one man instantly apologized.
They wanted to apologize for crossing illegally into the U.S.,
and that they're begging and asking for mercy, to understand that they're coming from a country where they're persecuted, and they feel like if they were to be returned home, they would be killed. The mass influx of migrants is causing tension between federal and state authorities. Texas Governor Greg Abbott posted this video accusing border agents of cutting razor wire at an undisclosed location in Eagle Pass, allowing trapped migrants to turn themselves in. DHS officials refused to comment on the governor's allegation. On Wednesday, about 3,000 migrants crossed in Eagle Pass alone.
It's something very strange. Never thought I was going to see something like that in Eagle Pass, Texas.
The local sheriff tells us smugglers are preying on the hopes of these migrants, offering to move them to other cities if they can get into the U.S.
I know this because we have smugglers coming from Houston, Florida, Austin, everywhere to pick up those immigrants. There's a connection there.
Reasons for this surge vary, but migrants we spoke to say they've grown frustrated with the CBP1 app that processes formal applications, many waiting months on the Mexican side for an appointment. These two men from Venezuela say they crossed illegally because they're desperate and have been waiting 3 months for the appointment to request asylum. It's a risk we had to take, he tells me. We know there's a chance we get deported, but it's in God's hands.
We are going to be looking at hot conditions for the start of fall, but the big question is, how long is all this going to last? We'll talk about that in the next cold front up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Pretty quiet evening out there across West Texas and southeast of Mexico, and other than just a couple of clouds down in the mountain areas is really about it this evening. Now, temperatures were hot today. We're going to show you this again because temperatures were running 10 plus degrees above where they should be this time of the year. In fact, we saw an area of triple digits, western Permian Basin down into the lower Trans-Pecos and the Presidio Valley, Terlingua, all up above 100 degrees earlier today. High pressure is in close proximity to West Texas, so that's going to control the weather here over the next couple of days. We are watching this disturbance back across the western U.S. I think that's going to be enough to bring a front through as we move in towards late in the weekend, early part of next week, and that is going to help with the temperatures and the rain chances. Didn't see a lot, though, the way it ran across the state. As you can see, that high pressure area really controlling things. We had some sea breeze showers form up here along the Texas Gulf Coast. Really about it, as temperatures across the state were relatively hot into triple digits up towards Austin, Laredo, Del Rio up to 102 this afternoon, and hot enough across portions of South Texas all the way up towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now, taking a look at the West Texas Futurecast again, not too much happening overnight tonight other than a couple of high clouds here and there streaming across. For tomorrow afternoon, the favored areas for an isolated shower, thunder shower will be down in the mountain areas and moving off to the east. They could get a little rambunctious eastern Terrell County into the Edwards Plateau. But again, I think things will be relatively isolated across the area tomorrow, and really not going to see the effects of that front until early Monday morning. So for tonight, things will be quiet. We're looking for those temperatures again into the lower to mid 70s out there. So trying to cool off, and tomorrow more of the same. First day of fall, won't feel like it with temperatures in the upper 90s to low triple digits in many locations. And that's going to be the same case on Sunday with temperatures up to 97 degrees. But then here comes that front, bringing some isolated to widely scattered showers and thunder showers into the forecast, especially across parts of the Permian Basin. And so temperatures will get back to where they should be this time of the year, into the mid to upper 80s. So a little bit of a change just in time for the first week of the fall season.
All righty, Tom, thank you. Still ahead here at 9, we're talking about what the United Auto Workers strikes means for you, and also the production of cars and parts. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us. In a developing story now from across the nation, thousands more auto workers walked off their jobs in factories across the nation. This after the United Auto Workers president announced talks with 2 of the big 3 automakers that are not progressing. Chris Van Cleve brings us the latest.
President Biden announced plans to join the picket line and stand in solidarity with striking auto workers next week. The president's show of support comes as the union is expanding its historic strike. The growing labor dispute now includes an additional 38 General Motors and Stellantis parts distribution centers across some 20 states.
At 9 a.m., there was no hesitation. Everybody walked out.
What do we want? Fair pay!
About 5,600 workers joined the strike, which is focused on wages and benefits.
What's hurt the consumers is the last 4 years, these companies have raised the price of vehicles 34%. Wasn't because of our wages, wasn't because our wages went backwards.
Some 13% of the union's nearly 150,000 members are on the picket lines. GM and Stellantis say they continue to bargain in good faith. GM calling the decision to expand the strike unnecessary, while Stellantis, the parent of Chrysler, says it presented a very competitive offer but never received a response.
They need to give us what we need to survive.
Top-tier management, their pay has multiplied 7 times.
Detroit's automakers say they need to invest profits in the expensive transition to electric vehicles. Ford was spared from further strike action Friday after the union said it had made good progress in talks, including securing cost of living and job protections. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
And there is still so much more to come here on CBS 7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW. We'll tell you why one local park has become a lot more colorful literally overnight. Find out where this is and how you can take part in a special event this weekend next here at 9. Well, before we go, we want to share an event that's happening tomorrow. You may have seen all of these flags at Memorial Garden Park off of 42nd Street in Odessa. It's set up for the annual Paint the Park event held by West Texas Gifts of Hope. It'll happen from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. The different colored flags represent different kinds of cancer. Local leaders will be on hand as well. You won't want to miss any of that. It's a wonderful event benefiting a great organization, West Texas Gifts of Hope, and so many people use their services over at Hope House of Odessa. That is the house in which they operate. So it's a really great organization. A lot of fun at that event as well. A lot of speakers happening and coming on out, and also paying tribute to those who have been affected by this horrible disease as well, but also makes the park nice, colorful, and beautiful. And I think the weather is shaping up nicely other than the heat, Tom.
Yeah, the morning, the evenings, things look fantastic for that. It's that afternoon afternoon, though, we got to watch out because we're going to see temperatures close to 100, if not above it, in parts of West Texas. Tomorrow is the first day of fall. Not going to feel like it. Not going to feel like it on Sunday. But Monday, though, as we start the first full week of the fall season, a little cooler, a little more seasonable, and the possibility of a few showers, thunder showers in the forecast as a cold front arrives here in West Texas.
Yeah, and our peanut butter drive not looking too bad at all.
Not at all.
All righty. Well, thanks so much for joining us here at 9 on the CW. Make it a great night. We'll see you at 10 on CBS 7.